Hey guys, big welcome back, and today we're going to be working on my 2001 Harley-Davidson Electra Glide. It's 88, whatever, it doesn't matter. I wanted to do an upgrade on the bags. I wanted the longer bags and shit, and then I kind of wanted to like old man the bike. Sorry, I'm a little sick, so if my voice is all screwed up, that's all it is. It is what it is. So I wasn't really into like these bumpers on the front and back, and I want to make it a little bit cooler. So I went on Amazon and I bought a set of these bags here for 300 bucks Canadian, whatever. And they were okay, but I ultimately ended up deciding to buy a set of NastyHogs. And I'm going to tell you the story while I'm working on the bike, like why I switched. So that, and then this rear fender right there. But I'll tell you that while I'm working on the bike. And sorry if my angles aren't going to be great. I'm missing the top of my tripod. So my son's going to come over and help me film, but I don't want to waste time because I want to ride today. So we'll just make do with the best we can. Let me go ahead and I'm going to get these bags off, the seat off. You guys, you know how to do that. I don't need to film that, but I'll be right back. Alright, I got the bags and seat off, and then before getting started I wanted to double check that the lights are work. By the way, I should mention that you do have to assemble all this shit. So you have to install the lights and that. Pretty straightforward, just 3 screws per each, and then it plugs right into the factory harness, so that's good. We've got brakes and turn signals both work, so we can continue on. I just wanted to make sure before I start ripping us all apart that I'm actually gonna have lights, so let's continue along. Alright, my son's not here yet, but I decided to go ahead and start without him on the other side there. So I didn't watch any videos on how to do this, by the way. I'm just kind of figuring it out. I looked through and I found that you need to remove this one here and this one here, so you have to pop those side covers off. I still had those on, but pop those off to get the rear fender out of here. So those, and then these over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we will continue on. Okay, to complicate things, I realized that they actually have a screw going right into the bottom of the battery box. Now, the proper way to get this out would be to take the wheel off, but I was able to use this and squeeze it in. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you guys or not, but way up in there somewhere is a hole. And I was able to screw around up in there between that. So for what it's worth, you can do it on the belt side because the fender doesn't wrap over on that side, and yeah, you can make it happen. So I was able to, but let's continue on. Okay, sorry guys, I didn't film getting the actual rear fender off because it was difficult. I ended up having to pull out the old floor jack there, jack the bike up. So there would be 2 ways to get the fender off. One is do it the way I just did, throw the jack under there, and then because you got to rotate the fender out, and so I actually had to undo one of the exhaust because the big ass turn signals were blocking me from rotating it, but that actually worked out well anyway, because that exhaust needed one of these bushings right here, because every time I stop at a light, this one would rattle because the bushing was shot. So this was a perfect opportunity to actually change the bushing anyway, which I'll probably go ahead and just do both sides, even though the one side doesn't vibrate. I was saying the other way would be that you've got to remove the top bar here, but then you've got to undo like the shocks and all that other work. So if you've got one of these jacks, that is going to be your better way to do it, because really, yeah, it wasn't that bad. So anyhow, continuing on. Okay, here we go. So we're test fitting it right now, because we have to cut the hole for the seat bolt. It's not pre-drilled. So, and then we got to figure out what to do with the wires, because they didn't really give you anything to get the wires out of the way of the wheel. And last summer, I'm trying to say, I was down in North Carolina and Tennessee on my Sporty, and the wire actually, from fucking around, went and hit my what do you call it there? Hit the wheel and tore my light out. So basically, I've got to mock fit this, then put the seat in place, and then drill the hole. He said, don't go based on that. He says, find where your seat hole is, and then it's got a kit to put the seat bolt in. I'll show you that in a minute. So before we get into test fitting and all that, we've got to take these out and move them over to the new fender so that it'll have something to bolt up with. And it's just 4 bolts, so you guys can see that. I'm not going to bother filming it, but I'll be back in a minute once that's done. Okay, we got those pieces of hardware in there, bolts, whatever. And now we can go ahead and try to test fit this. Should be fun. And then I got to figure out where I can zip tie or come up with something to get the rest of it. Let's try to. Okay, so being straight up with you guys, it's tricky though to get this shit up into position. I'm hitting on these bolts there, and I got the air lines. We obviously got to be careful of the air lines for the air suspension. And let's see what we're binding up on here. So I got to throw a couple of bolts in, because I do want to make sure, just so I loosely bolt this up. Like I said, I won't film it. I'm just telling you what I'm going to do. I'm going to bolt this on lightly just so I can get that hole. So give me a minute. We'll do that. Alright, so here we are. I've got the fender. It is just, like I said, mock fit right now, and one bag. The bag is not on all the way because I've got to adjust this. This needs a small adjustment anyway to bring it over, as you can see. So there is a bit of an uneven gap here. I don't know if I can work that out, or maybe just once the bag is on properly and the bike's sitting on the ground, maybe it'll make a difference. But so far, so good. I'm digging it. And also, I don't like having my bike up on a lift. I know they're meant for it, but man, I hate that. I always worry it's going to fall. But okay, so now we're going to have to get into some troubleshooting for how to get the wire in there. We're going to get that seat bolt, so I'll go over that in a minute. And we'll continue on making this into a NastyHog or whatever it was. I think that's the brand, NastyHogs. But let's continue. This is all bolted on, all the bolts are in. And after putting my seat in, I've determined that this is the location. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a little pilot hole right in the middle. Just like that. And give me a second, I'll get the seat off. And we're going to go ahead and just try to bore this out to the right diameter. Very gently. We're not trying to drill through my brand new tire, obviously. Not that it would really go through that quick anyway, but... And so then I didn't even show you guys yet. I'm going to show you this. This bit is, I don't know, I can't read it. Anyway, what it matches is something over here. Come show them these little parts here. So this is the nut assembly for the seat. It comes with a, you know, the nut. And then I think this thing's called a helo coil. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to put one side on like that, then put a washer, and then we're gonna come through the rear fender. I won't be able to do it while it's on the bike. I'm gonna have to take it off, and then put the other washer and one on top, and then that'll give us a seat bolt. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna put a little bit of blue Loctite on this shit, because on my Sporty I lost the seat bolt one time because I didn't put any Loctite, and I don't want to deal with that again. So we're just going to go ahead and, just out of abundance of caution, let's just do it. Oh shit, you cunt. Sorry folks. That's actually tricky to your hand up in there. Right there. So the unfortunate thing is I don't think I can, I don't know, we'll see, but I don't think I can get this on there very good with the washers. It's helo coil or whatever, maybe should have been a tiny bit bigger, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. See if I can tighten it. I get some vice grips because I'm too lazy to look for the proper size wrench. So, go ahead and get some of these underneath. On top very carefully, because obviously we don't want a visible scratch would be visible. It would be just that. So hopefully that's okay. Maybe I'll try to tighten it just a tiny bit more. Can. Bit, and with that Loctite on there, it should be okay. So now I'm gonna finagle this back into place, although there was still one more thing to wire up, which would be the plate light. So maybe I should address that quickly. Yeah, let me look into that. Give me 1 minute. Okay, so what happens here is they give you a plate bracket, and you're supposed to put the plate bracket in and then use this little light here to illuminate the plate. And the fellow that I got it from did tell me I'd have to trim the plate a little bit to make it fit, but for us here, for my plate, it'd be too much trimming. I would get pulled over instantly, so I'm not going to be able to do that. All I'm going to do is I'm going to try to center this. I'm going to bend it, and we're just going to drill the holes and put it in like that, because I don't want to tick it. And then as for the plate light, that plate light is not necessarily ideal, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to order the ones that just go in where the bolts go. So let's just get those two started. That's a little off center, but whatever. One. out to straighten it out next time or whatever on the other plate, but or with the other bolt, sorry. Let's see, I don't know if these screws are gonna work. These are made for this, but yeah, does not leave much meat going through there. I don't really want to lose my plate, but things happen. So we got another one. Maybe I better do all 4 because the bolts are a little on the small side. Like I said, these will be temporary until I get an illuminated set on Amazon. They're like 15 bucks or something. So that will solve that problem. But let's go ahead and get a screwdriver going here and tighten those. And then I'm having a bit of hard time getting this latch to get both latches in tight. Not sure why. I've tried making adjustments, so I've still got to play with that a little bit more before I can hit the road, but it's looking great. And I've lost my screwdriver or something, but anyway, I'll tighten the bolts up and we'll do a finalization in a minute. All right, here we are all mounted up. I went for a ride. Here, let me pull my mask off my face. Went for a ride and yeah, it did okay. It did okay. This kind of rattles around a little bit, so it might be nice to make some kind of support for that, but not a big deal. I'm really loving the look of it, and I don't think I mentioned earlier, but these were $15.50 and Canadian out the door. That's the out the door price. And I did mention earlier about a little story about how I ended up with these, so as soon as I get back home, I'm going to tell you that story to finish out the video. Okay, here we are back at home, safe and sound, enjoying that sweet sound. Man, I love it. But I'm going to kill the bike, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about the little story I had to tell. Just for fun. Okay, so for anyone that was interested, I was telling a little story there. So it's Mike's story hour now. That basically how this played out was I had the original bags on the bike, and I was like, okay, they're cool, but I really didn't want all that old man shit, you know what I mean? So I went on Amazon, I bought those other bags for 300 bucks, and they arrived. No, actually, I'm screwing up the story, sorry. Okay, so I wanted to buy bags, and I had found a guy, I don't want to say where, it doesn't matter, online on Facebook, that was selling the bags, and they were going to be whatever, $550. No, they had bags for $550, but I was going to buy the whole kit, actually very similar to what I bought, and so for like $1,600 for the kit. And then I was going to get my bike painted satin. So I reached out to a guy that does bike painting in Hamilton, and he said that, you know, if I brought him all the parts, that to like, you know, the gas tank, the fenders, fairing, bags, everything, he said it would be like $1,200 to paint the bike satin. And while it was a part, then I wanted to paint like the engine and shit. I just do that myself with some rattle can and, you know, tape, whatever. So I'm talking to him about getting the bags, you know, this kit for, you know, for $1,600. And he says to me, you know, listen, if you want to save some money, you could go on Amazon and you could buy the bags for like $300. And then there's a filler piece that extends the factory bumper. You take off all that bumper shit and it'll actually lower it so that it matches. So I went ahead and I looked online, I saw it, and I said, okay. Yeah, so it's like, so for all that, like $400. So it wasn't going to be the true rear end like this, but it would have done like a similar styling for $400. And then he said that, you know, that he could paint the, and then I got thinking about it, and I was like, well, my tank is not that bad. Like, you know, there's not really that many scratches on it. My fairing's in good condition, and I want to buy a new 21-inch front wheel and fender, a wraparound fender. So I said, but being that some of my my body panels are all in good shape anyway, maybe it's better just to get the 2 bags painted gloss to match the rest of the bike, and then call it a day. So he said that the 2 bags, because it costs more, because satin is just like, you know what I mean, sand, and then I think paint, maybe there's primer, I'm not sure, but he would have done whatever. But to do just 2 bags would have been $900, and that was, you know, because they're ABS, so he's got to sand them first, then prime them, then a couple coats of paint, then 2 to 3 coats of clear, then he's got to wet sand it, then he's got to cut and polish. Like, so there's a lot involved. It's not just, you know, like shake a can and spray it. Like, there's a lot involved, and I get that. So then I was like, well, okay, so it's $900 to get my bags painted, or like, you know, $1,200 or so, whatever, to get the whole bike done satin instead, because satin's cheaper. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll just get the whole bike painted. But then I was like on Marketplace, and I keep seeing this NastyHogs or whatever kit come up, and like, fuck, like, you know, because they already come vivid black from the factory. They match the rest of the bike. They're already gloss black. And so for $1,600 or whatever, and I end up messaging a guy that sells them, and I asked, like, you know, how much for, I was looking at getting the stretch bags and a wheel and some other shit, but the individual pricing did not equal out to the combined price he gave. It was actually $800 more. Like, you know, when I priced out the different ads he had, you know, it was like, say, $550, and then, you know, $1,100 or whatever, $1,500 for the wheel. And but when I put the pricing together, the price he was giving me was $800 more than what it added up to be. So I was like, all right, well, I don't know. And then I ended up stumbling upon the other guy, which I've got his business card. So I'm going to take a picture of his business card, and I'm going to put it at the end of the video, because he was a cool dude. So anyway, I talked to him, and he's like, yeah, it's $1,550 out the door. I've got them in stock, ready to go. You just got to pick them up, which was like, you know, over an hour away. But that's what I did, and everything went pretty well. You guys saw the video. There is some things though that I'll mention was, and I'm not sure if I already did, but they didn't include any grommets for the bags or the rubbers for underneath. Like, there's supposed to be rubbers that go underneath, that go onto the bar mount or whatever. They didn't come with any, so I don't know if NastyHog just doesn't include them. I don't know if he forgot to put them in. I'm going to shoot him a message. Not a big deal. If I have to order them, I have to order them. I used the ones from my Amazon bags, which seemed to work. Not on video was just these right in here. There's the things that you can adjust. You can spin those mounts for where your pins go in to hold the bag. Anyway, so you might have to adjust those a little bit. I did to make them work for me. But overall, I'm really happy with them. And I know this video's kind of gotten a little bit longer than I planned. I was trying to make this like a reasonably quick video for you guys, especially because I'm sick and I'm having a hard time breathing while I'm talking. That's why I'm talking so fast. But anyway, it is what it is. So $1,550 out the door. I'm going to put that guy's info. I wasn't asking him for a deal. I didn't get a deal. I wasn't asking for a deal or anything like that. He seemed like a really nice guy and knowledgeable on his parts. He's got tons of other parts like fenders and you know, all kinds of shit. And he does like stereos, and you can pay to get these installed, by the way. Putting the lids together, I didn't make a video on it. There is a video available from NastyHogs or whatever. I think is it Hogworks or Nasty, whatever it is. I keep calling it NastyHogs. I don't know the name of it, whatever. They do have a video how to build the lids, because it takes some work to build them. But it's not that bad. So if you're not mechanically inclined though, you're probably going to want to just pay. You can pay like the guy I bought it from, to install them. He's got like an install shop. So, but if you're pretty mechanically inclined, like you know, I'm an idiot, but I'm still pretty handy. So, I mean, I managed to figure it out. So you could probably do it too. And that's that. So I hope some people have enjoyed the video. Yeah, that's it. That's just dirt. I was like, what, did I already scratch the fuckers? But no, we're good. And then for anyone that's interested, oh, I did get this shit off Amazon too. These go in here to, because you get the heat off the head, but they didn't come with any way to mount them. Like, there's no holes on the bike there to mount that, so I'm just gonna get some two-sided tape, I think. And I wouldn't mind getting a zip tie in if I could figure it out, just to have those on before summer. Right now it doesn't matter because it's cold, but I've been riding all winter. That's why the bike's all dirty and shit. Like, I mean, if it's even a couple of degrees Celsius out, I'll ride. I don't care. And yeah, well, that's gonna wrap it up, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. And yeah, look forward to making some, like, you know, moto vlogs or something over the summer. And once the weather warms up, get out there a little more. But we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.